Hello and welcome to this great game of Mechabellum. I've been doing some very weird stuff recently, and this is one of those games. So we of course pick the elite spec, not because it's good, but because I wanna play it. And I've been experimenting with this turn 1 wasps for a while. And this was actually funny that you saw that the deployment jumped right into it. And it was a recommended formation, I remember, from me. I'm the only one who's doing turn 1 wasps, so I had the only recommendation. I don't think this is a good strategy or anything, but it might work out versus good players if they don't know what's coming, or this kind of very weird playstyle for them. For example, when I first did it, I won some tournament final versus Steelsane with this strategy. I think I have that video also on YouTube. I will link it here, the video, if you wanna see it. And sometimes I go like carry wasp with range or elite or stuff like that, and sometimes I just jump drive them and jump around. And what the jump drive provides is that the enemy cannot really attack the elite specialist. Like one of the weaknesses of the elite is that you cannot cover all your angles. You are very easily attacked. But when I'm being the aggressor with the jump drives, the enemy needs to be the one who's reacting and not me. So it's a great help. And here the craziness starts, because I'm gonna pick the improved Stormcaller. I think I've never picked this with an elite spec. I picked this sometimes with a normal specialist. It's quite good in very niche situations. But I thought in this game the enemy is a giant specialist. So the storms are usually good versus a giant. And look at this guy, it has 12k HP almost. So it tanks everything. You can use them as a frontliner. And it's quite good against the sledges and marksmen early on. But the problem with this is that it's very weak to anti-missile devices. But the thing is that I'm flying around with the wasps. So I think I can cheese many rounds here. It's very hard for the enemy to commit into the anti-missile devices. If he puts down like 100 cost device, I'm just gonna snipe his tower, win the round, and then kill all the devices with the wasps. But there might be a problem later on with the war factory anti-missile or something like that. But we have the launcher overload. So here we are flying with the wasps. I actually have learned quite a bit of how to use there's a flank. Stormcallers don't care. Yeah, I have actually learned quite a bit on how to use the mobile beacon better with this kind of wasp strategy. I have been using it with Phoenix and stuff like that for ages, but this has teach me some new things, the wasps. You can do like very late beacons from the center and stuff like that. And it's gonna happen this game, there's some crazy plays. And so he took the intelligent marksman. I don't remember what this guy's MMR is. I would have guessed it's like 1.9k or 1.8k, something between, but if he picks intelligent marksman in this situation, it might indicate he's a little bit lower. Maybe like 1.6k or something. So apparently we took the badgers just for the money and sold them. And the enemy took Wraith. So he's really afraid of the wasps. Here's our second badger. The badgers are quite good, a flanking unit. Like here it pulls 2.5 packs there, kills them all once they're warped in. Then the enemy needs to deploy more stuff here, then you can just sell it. Have a lot of options. We are defending the flank with the badgers. Also flying straight into the Wraith, unfortunately. But it's kind of funny to see that the storms are actually my frontliners. Do we get the tower? We do get it, but the wasp will die, right? So the improved storms give 400% more HP, 50% more attack. I was thinking of, like I remember in this game, I really wanted to go AG on the storms. Because of the added attack, they would be better against the sledges and crawlers and fangs. But I really didn't want to take them because of the anti-missile threat. Like, it's too much investment, I feel like. So of course we lose to the Wraith. We can counter them next turn. My replay player has been like, I watched some replays for the Assault Scorpion would be pretty good as well, by the way, with the elite spec. Yeah, I've been watching some replays to analyze, and I found out that most of my replays are like broken when I watch them. It's crazy. I don't know why that is. Maybe it's because I touched the toggle button, or the, what's it called, speed switch. So this is the power of the wasps. Like, there's so many angles of attack the enemy needs to cover that if he wants to cover it with the Wraith, he needs to deploy two more, like one here and one here. And the Wraith isn't, well, it's okay against the crawlers and stuff, but it isn't that useful in this game, other than the wasps, and I can always just sell out of the wasps. So that's the power of beaconing this. The enemy needs to build a dedicated counter for it in multiple positions. And then when he has assembled it, you can just sell the wasps, and then his counter doesn't counter anything anymore. And here the fortress is kind of good play from him, I guess. If he goes the anti-air, I kind of need to get out of the Phoenix. And then I have nothing for the Wraith. So I wonder how we fix it. So he took the senior defense specialist. Well, there's more wasp counters. Yeah, we took the saber-tooth. I remember this situation. I was thinking that I need to sell out of the Phoenix because of the fortress anti-air. So that's why I took the biggest unit here, so there's only one unit to sell. If I took multiples of units, I have too much to sell. And I needed to sell the saber-tooth to afford the melting point and not sell the Phoenix yet. So here's a new angle for the wasps. What are we gonna do? Yeah, and he goes to the fortress anti-air. And we fly right to the typhoons. These kind of beacons are like, imagine if there wasn't the typhoons, only the raids. This would fly here, then they would fly to the tower. So you can do a lot with the wasps, even if the enemy like tries to counter it. I guess the typhoons was okay for him if he's gonna sell out the raid. It's kind of weird having like 2 units do the same job. But now the storms are looking quite spicy, because they are very good against the fort and they are very good against the typhoon. Some attack and defense. We go speed. I think this senior defense specialist is a big bait. It's 300 for 30%. If you look at this button, it's 100 for 15%. And is the next one, I don't remember what it is even. Is it 300 for 25%? So it's the senior defense specialist is pretty much the same than pressing this button twice. So it's kind of useless, I think. I would never pick it. Well, maybe in some situations, but there's not many situations. So now we are getting out of the Phoenix, and we are getting speed spec. I think speed spec is always good. I've noticed, like even in defensive formations with slow units, that you wouldn't think benefits from the speed. When you click the temporary speed button, your army just does a lot better. So I've been feeling like and there's an opening to get the tower. I've been feeling like the speed is always good, no matter what kind of composition you have. So he has a lot of units to counter the wasp, but I still get the tower. It's pretty hard to defend against this. It's sometimes good to use like late missiles, but when the enemies start using the late missiles a little bit too early, you can just use the wasp more carefully, trigger the missiles in another way, and then he loses a lot of economy. So it's also very risky for him. So the melters are coming through and the storms are doing well. I'm surprised he isn't selling out of the raid when he got the typhoons. I remember I picked the super heavy here. Like if you look at this composition, he has so many different units types. We are in the melters, and I kind of want him to go melting point as well, to like stretch him really thin. So that's why I'm picking the super heavy armor. And I'll put them on the wasp because I'm fairly confident I can get a tower snipe again this turn with the super heavy armor. And then next turn I can just sell it, put it on a melter on a losing side probably, and it will tank a lot. We have some chaff issues here, like these are level 4 crawlers, level 3 crawlers. Maybe I should have sold these guys a long time ago. They just farm experience here. But we can deal with them later on. So here we go. Does it work? There's a typhoon deployed in the middle. Look at these guys, they have so much HP. And he actually goes pre-empty melting points here without even seeing the super heavy armor. That's crazy. We get the tower. I think the typhoon is a big bait most of the time. It's very good in some situations, but I think people pick it like always. Actually lost a 2 versus 2 game like yesterday because the enemy just randomly picked a typhoon into a free unit pack that had a scorpion in it. Like it's just and I picked wasp from there because I was expecting him to pick the scorpion because you kinda have to pick the scorpion if you don't want to lose the game. But then I pick a wasp into a typhoon. Did we took the portable shield? I don't think the okay, here actually it's pretty good. I was just saying that it's not that good versus the melting point. I imagine I would put it on a melting point, but it's actually very strong on the storms. And the super heavy armor, you cannot put it on the storms because this improved Stormcaller already gives 400% more. So when you add super heavy armor to it, it's just 700%, not like 1200%. So it's additive item bonus. We are going launcher overload and just mass melting point. I wonder if I should have gone fire here also. And there hasn't been any anti-missile devices. I think he's not he's giving me a little bit easy game here because of that. But it's very risky for him to use economy on it. But he is using the shields here. Look at this Chad's tanking everything, killing everything here as well. Now the crawlers are coming through though. It's very funny for me to see that these storms are acting like as an leveled sledgehammer frontline, even better. This is always kinda iffy with the elite spec the late game because you need to recruit level 2 giants, so everything is so expensive. And usually the game evolves in this kind of giant composition, at least against a giant specialist. Because you kind of need to go melting point most of the time. Scorpion is also pretty powerful unit. Yeah, it's good oil for us, right? So the thing is that last turn we were kind of struggling against these two rollers. And some chaff were coming here also. We have quite a bad chaff clear here. And what the oil does is that everything gets stuck here, gets slowed, and the storms will do massive amounts of damage when the enemy is just standing still in the oil. Am I going fire or not? Then we have the mobile beacon, which isn't that useful here from the early game of playing with the wasps. So I just moved these guys a little bit back. I still want them to tank for the melting point. Then I'm preparing some late missiles for the crawlers, because I remember last turn the crawlers got in here and here. So this is just to prevent it. If like a crawler pack runs from here or something, this late missile will trigger it. Or it will trigger the late missile. So the improved storms are just wrecking the enemy. Look at how fast these typhoons are falling. Like here. And when we are this late into the game and we have many of the storms with the launcher overload, I don't think the enemy can do any kind of anti-missile play anymore. And I had the melting point also, so it was kind of hard for him to go into a factory or something. And I didn't overcommit into the storms at any point of the game, I feel like. So yeah, that's it. Kind of wanted to showcase this game because of I think the wasp plays were pretty interesting. The super heavy armor on the wasp and then the improved Stormcaller on the elite. But it was kind of more of a fun game than a real strategy. But there's some potential in some craziness. Like there's always an angle for something crazy, even in like high MMR games. Thank you for watching.